Yeah, I'm right. I had to get up for a second. Hello, welcome everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Cindy. I am a psychic medium. I have lots of tools in my basket. Astrology is something that I love. So, tonight we're going to do astrology, and I appreciate you guys showing up to my live. We have lots of beautiful souls in here, women and men. Um, yeah, we have lots of beautiful souls in here. This is a really good energy to be sitting in. Even if you don't say a word, just to be in that energy is really good. So we have this new moon in Virgo, and the the reason I'm going to be talking about these, so astrologers would call them minor aspects. I'm taking a different take. If you've never seen me before, to me, the planets talk to me because I'm coming from a medium standpoint, right? So they talk to me. They are characters and they have personality. So you'll hear my take on things is very different. Um, it's just a unique way that I have to be able to say these things, right? So, um, what was I going to say about the minor? We call these things, so astrologers would call these things minor aspects. And I think that's a misnomer when they say, because that's the way it's said, right? Minor aspects. And so you're thinking it's a minor thing. I don't think that. It's kind of the same thing as in, because I was in medicine, in healthcare. So it's kind of like saying you have this ease, right? Like, and they'll say it's a mild, and it's really not. That's not what they mean. They don't mean to take anything away from your pain or your discomfort. What they're saying is that it had hit a certain stage, right? That it's kind of the same thing. It's like a minor aspect doesn't mean it's any less. It's just a way to distinguish what type of conversation these planets are having for you, right? Does that make sense to you guys? So, so Shaylee says, which degree of Virgo? So it's at 11 degrees and 3 minutes. It's 11, so it's 11 degrees and 3 minutes, but I got it at 11 degrees and 4 minutes. So if you guys can see here, see right here, I got it at 11 degrees 4 minutes. Um, but the official is 11 degrees 3 minutes, right? So does that help you? So if anybody has any planets at this 11 degrees, you'll be more aware of how it affects you. Because I hate to say you'll be more affected. I think that's a misnomer as well. Can y'all tell I'm being Virgo? It's a bit, I'm being very picky, right? And I'm usually not, but this is the Virgo energy that's coming through for this new moon. Can y'all tell? So, I mean, I'm down to the minute, right? And I don't usually speak about that stuff. So, you guys can tell I'm in my Virgo side. So, uh, when you say, when one says, maybe astrologers say, if you have planets there, it'll affect you the most. That's not true. If you're more aware of how it affects you than people that don't have planets there, right? That's the way I see it. It doesn't mean you're not going to be affected because you don't have planets there. It just means you're probably more aware of it when you have planets there. Does that make sense to everybody? I know that I'm being very like critical, but this is the Virgo side. This is my south node. This is what I have to like balance with my north node, okay? So, um, I hope that you understand that. And so I'm going to be talking about this minor aspect of what's going to be going on. And then, first of all, though, because just because I don't do certain things doesn't mean you guys don't like certain things, right? And so I want to incorporate all of a new moon. So we're going to talk about a new moon first. And I know some of you guys have gone over this uh, time after time after time. And if you've seen me, you know these steps that we can take in a new moon or a full moon, right? But for those of you that are new and have never seen me before, there are some things. I mean, I kind of feel like our group made Dr. Teal very famous because Nobody was using that until we all started like buying it, using it, and saying it online. So I kind of feel like uh, we made Dr. Teal a lot of money, right? Because Dr. Teal was the only one at the time that had Epsom salt bath with lavender in it. So, and I'm talking almost a decade ago. Anyway, so we're going to talk about a new moon and some rituals or some steps, whatever you want to call it, that you might want to take in a new moon. And then what a new moon's about. And then because it's Virgo, it's like in Virgo's house, it has to go by Virgo's rules, and it kind of has some of the aspect of that, um, some of the personality of that. We'll say that, right? But I'm going to use these minor aspects that I was talking about because one, because it's Virgo and you need to be detailed, right? Like he's trying to tell you something, and you need to pay attention, right? So, but it's aspecting. So it's talking to Chiron, um, and then it's talking to Saturn, right? And we all know we need to pay attention when he's doing that because I think he's going to give us a reality check that we're needing. So does all that make sense to everybody? Okay. So the new moon. So we know the moon goes in phases. We just had that full moon, and full moons are about releasing and letting go. And we're getting where the way that I see it, the way that they've shown it to me, my higher self is like you as your whole self, part of the universe, you can have so much energy running through you, like unlimited, right? But when you come down and incarnate and you're in this, what my late husband used to call the meat suit, there's only so much energy that you're going to be able to. So let me say, at this point in our involvement, because we can go further, we just haven't yet. So at this point in our involvement, there's a certain amount of energy that runs through our meat suit, right? Does that make sense to everybody? So this is the way and this will make sense. When we carry all our baggage, when we haven't made choices, when we're keeping it in ourselves, when we're carrying all that, like your house runs through you, your car runs through you, your relationships run through you, your pen runs through you, this mic runs through, like everything runs through you as energy, right? I hope this is making sense. So when we release, it's like giving us more room in our energetic field to be able to have the new phases come in, the new things come in, the new opportunities come in, the new relationships to come in. Does that make sense? So in a full moon, we release because we're getting ready to go into a new phase with the new moon. Now that we're in the new moon and it happens to be Virgo, and that those are all clues as to how it's going to act in our lives, right? So a long, long, long time ago, many, many years ago, over a decade, um, I used to have, say, anybody that was watching me, a good new moon ritual is to write down some of the, doesn't have to be a lot of them, it can just be one, goals that you can see in the next month, right? Maybe a focus that you want to see come to reality in the next month, right? You've just released some things you're now seeing clearly, and this is the time where the energy helps you to be able to manifest or bring to reality some of the things that you're wanting, right? And so a good thing to do, and Geminis know this, because Geminis, the ruler's communication, but Virgos know this too, and Virgos know if I write, there's something about writing it down that brings it more into reality, right? Does that make sense? So what I've always asked is that you write down a goal or two, something, it doesn't have to be big, it's just something where you're focused on something that you kind of need, um, that you've kind of wanted to make reality, right? And so when we do this, that's like the beginning of saying, this is where I want to focus. This is kind of what I want to manifest. This is where my ideas are going. Then the next thing that you can do is clean your space because you're starting a new energy, starting a new phase in your energy. So wherever you want to have this, put some candles, clean your space, make it organized. That's very Virgo. Make it tidy. Um, Open a window if you can. Let the old energy out. Let it run through, right? Especially with Virgo. You kind of, and all this is doing is like telling your brain and your spirit to get into the space where these planets are helping you. Okay. So some people, and here's the thing, even if you don't believe in it and you don't think about a ritual, you're like, no, I can do it without the ritual. You come from you may come from a background or a DNA who did rituals, and so that's very comfortable, right? So you may wonder, like, I don't believe in this stuff, but it works out better when I do it. It could be that. It could be that your line had done rituals. And so that's sort of how they make stuff reality. Does that make sense? I know I'm going really deep with this, but I'm trying to help y'all understand. So the next thing you can do is this is where I was saying Dr. Teal. Back in the day, I used to have people, and I tested this. It's the science that I love behind everything, right? Most things, not everything. Um, is to take an Epsom salt bath or an Epsom salt shower. So back in the day, we didn't have, Dr. Teal had not made the shower yet, right? I am not sponsored by Dr. Teal. I don't even, I don't even like talk about Dr. Teal anymore. I'm just saying that was the one that we could use at the time because that was the one that was available, right? So the whole point is to make an Epsom salt bath. So you could just make a regular Epsom salt bath. And what you want to do is when I do it, I visualize or I sense, right, that there is illuminating light like no other in this world. And it's coming through the water and landing into the tub and just filling that tub up with illumination. And that is going to heal, align, balance, energize you. Does all that make sense? You're already, all this is doing is getting you into the Virgo energy because it's a new moon. So if a new moon is here to help us, let's get into the energy and let it help us, right? So I just want you to visualize or imagine as the water's running into the tub that you're getting the water, that the water's illuminating, and in that it's very healing properties from the universe, right? You guys call it healing, I call it alignment. And all it's doing is aligning you, and that's going to be energizing you, aligning you, clearing you. And by clear, I mean clarity in your brain, clarity in your soul. Okay. Once you have the Epsom salt tub bath where you want it, step in and just know that as you're stepping into this illumination in this water, you are just being energized. You are being aligned. You are being healed. You are being clear. Okay. And then I want you to stay in the bath for about 10 minutes. No longer, no shorter. 10 minutes. I know that's very specific. Again, we are in Virgo. Maybe this is why I'm bringing this out again. I've tested this. It works. It's 10 minutes. Okay. You don't want to reabsorb what you've already let go, where you've already been aligned, right? So you just want to, what your misalignment was, let me say that, right? So 10 minutes, then get out. You can do another bath, if you want to, without the Epsom salt, but with the Epsom salt, I want you 10 minutes, no longer, no shorter. Okay. And as you're in there, just take some deep breaths and just know that, oh gosh, okay, I'm being aligned. I feel energized. I'm feeling so much better. And you actually will feel better, excuse me, physically. Again, we are in Virgo energy physically, right? Virgo is an earth. Virgo loves Mother Earth. Virgo loves the water. Virgo loves the ground, the dirt, the trees, right? And so just allow yourself to be enveloped in that energy. Then you get out, and then you can go to the room where you've straightened, organized, cleaned, and have written down wherever, even if it's just your bed, right? Wherever you're comfortable, right? One thing I forgot to say, while you're releasing, while you're like sitting in this tub, I want you to say, good things always happen to me. Like, good things always happen to me. That's what I want you to say over and over. Good things always happen to me. Oh my gosh, good things come so easy and they always happen to me, right? Just continue to say that until it feels comfortable in you, until you've accepted it, and you'll know it when it begins to feel comfortable for you, where you're just like, "Oh, that doesn't feel weird. It feels comfortable," right? Virgo is very comfortable. That's why I feel so comfortable in it. And that's why you guys, maybe they have Virgos around you, feel very comfortable, very grounded, right? Because Virgo knows how to love people. Let me just say this: Virgo knows how to love souls until they can love themselves. That's why they're called the healer, right? So that's sort of a thing. And once you get out of the shower or the bath, sorry, you can lay your crystals out. You can put your water out. So that you're in the new moon, this is where you want to drink your water. When you're in a full moon, you really don't want to drink the water that's in the full moon because you're releasing, right? But in the new moon, you want to take in that energy, right? So you can leave water out on your windowsill if the moon just happens to be by your windowsill or, shining through your window, wherever, and let the water uh, have the energy of the new moon, and then you can just drink it in the morning, right? Lay your crystals out. Lay your crystals out so that I mean, they want some of that energy. Give them some of that energy, right? So lay them out so that Virgo's new moon can like give them, clear them. They've done so much work for you. They're always holding space for you. They're always aligning you. So give them the charge that they need, right? Your tarot cards do that as well. Give them the charge that they need. These are all energetic things, right? So those are a couple things that you can do in the new moon. Again, some people don't need rituals. Some people think they don't need rituals, and then when they do rituals, it works out really, really well. And again, it could be because of your DNA, your family line, where you came from, that it's still in there, that it just feels better and works out better for you when you have this, right? And there's nothing wrong with doing it if it makes you feel better. And then some of you want to do something but don't know what to do. And I will tell you a story about my family. This brings my cousin so those of you who see me forever, I love my cousin. And the older cousin, who's like the matriarch, right, has always kept me under her wing. And so we were discussing, she was asking about, astrology at some point, and this was a couple of years ago. And we were talking on the phone, and there was a new moon coming up. And she's like, okay, well, she was like, I don't know what to do for a new moon. Like, do we go outside and dance under the moon? And she's like, I'm being serious. Because she's a Scorpio. And so I was like, she's like, do you like get naked? She's like, I'm being serious. I was like, you can get naked if you want. You can dance to the moon if you want. Like if that's what you want. Like I don't know that your neighbors want that, but that's maybe what you want. And she's like, don't laugh. I'm serious. And I was like, I know you're serious. So I gave her sort of this ritual to do, and I helped her. She just wanted to know what it all meant. She's a Scorpio. She knows what it all means within her, but she wanted to know, like, is there something that we can do? And so this is kind of why I'm doing this, just to let you know, it's that Virgo side that's like, let's put some of this. This is what this is going to be about. This whole thing that I'm going to be talking about is like this is what Virgo is asking us, your reality check. What are you bringing into reality? What are you wanting to do? You say all these things, you're envisioning all these things, but I'm going to need you to like, and this is Saturn too, I'm going to need you to take some responsibility. I'm going to need you to do some earth things. I'm going to need you to maybe light a candle. I'm going to need you to like, if I'm helping you, can you help me? Like, can you help me help you? That's Virgo. Can you help me help you? Right? So I'm letting you know as Virgo. This is Virgo talking. I'm letting you know as Virgo. It would be so much easier if you put into place the writing, if you put into place the, crystal, if you put into place taking a walk, if you put into place going hugging a tree, if you like, this is Virgo. Okay. Does all this make sense to you guys? Um, this is just to kind of help us ground and bring into reality those things that we have been working so hard all summer to decide about. Like we're still in retrograde season, but Mercury has gone direct. So the energy has loosened, and now it's time to like, okay, now that we're getting clearer, we're not all the way clear yet, right? Because all the retrogrades haven't finished. But now that we're a little clearer, especially with retrograde, who helps us process, especially with Mercury, sorry, who helps us process things. Let's make a choice. Let's make a decision. Let's put a little bit of work in. That's what Virgo is saying, right? So, with that, I'll move on to this Virgo, right? Thank you guys. So, with Virgo right here, it's going to be at 11 degrees, and officially it says 3 minutes, but I'm getting 4 minutes where they align. Okay. So, again, Virgo can be very nitpicky, and the I wouldn't even say it's a bad side of Virgo, but we would say you guys can say the lower octave of the Virgo is that he's too critical, right? Is that he has no filter and he'll just tell you, right? He doesn't mean to hurt your feelings, but it's like, hello, you need to know this because you're not paying attention. So that's Virgo. Virgo will like put it in your face. Virgo, they're not doing it to be, they're never doing it to be mean when they do that. If they want to be mean, they can be mean and they will be directly mean. Like you will not, it won't be a miss of like, did they mean that? No, you'll know they mean that. They mean business when they get upset. So when Virgo says something to you and it hurts your feeling and it feels flippant or it feels like it's because they see you at your best. They've always seen you at that's the way they look at the world. They see you at your best and it boggles their mind first that you're not seeing it and second that you're not at your full potential because they love you and they're like, you are this thing, you are this beautiful soul, and you're pretending like you're not. And that's kind of how Virgo is, right? They see you at this beautiful space that you are, but they will heal you. So what they do is they're like, okay, if you're not, then something's misaligned. Something's not right. What is it that they need to heal? How can I help them be better to be their best? And they're not, so they are ruled by Mercury, but they're a different part of the Mercury. It's not like Gemini, right? It's like this person needs a reality check. This person needs to know. This person they see you almost like, why are you doing this over and over? And you're getting the same result, but yet you're complaining because you're doing it. You want a different result, but you keep doing this over. It's like they see it clearly and they can't see why you can't see it clearly. And so they're like, I'm going to help. I got to stop. I got to stop it. And so they tell you, and sometimes it's like, ooh, ow, that kind of hurt. Right. So they're not doing it to be mean. They're doing it because they don't understand why you're not at your full potential. Right. They don't understand that. Because they see you as that full potential. And they're like, why are you acting this way when you're this? And then they go and look and they're like, oh, well, you're in this cycle and you're in this thing. And so I'm just going to let you know so we can fix the problem and move on. Right. So it's not the best way to say it all the time. As Virgos get older, they understand more about their communication and the way that words can hurt and how maybe they can soften the blow. So they get better at it. Right. But sometimes a Virgo that hasn't been a Virgo very long, like not so many lifetimes, can be awfully critical, right? And then come off as just like, because I'm sure some water signs may not be able to handle Virgo, where they're like, "Ow, that hurts too much, and I can't take it," you know. So, but as Virgos get older, as more lives that they spend in it, again, my South Node is Virgo, so I'm a little bit better, but doesn't mean that when I first came back, when I was younger, I wasn't critical. I was very critical and I didn't soften the blow. And I am a truth teller, right? So Virgo's just that's like their path, but this is just to kind of get you. I'm trying to get you in the space of Virgo, trying to get you to understand. Okay, so as we look at this Virgo, he's like, I could be like, oh, it's just I could say to Virgo, you're gonna have the new moon at 11 degrees, and he would say 11 degrees in 4 minutes. But honestly, officially, it would be 11 degrees in 3 minutes. Your software just happened to have 11 degree in 4 minutes, so it's a minute off. Like, that's how Virgo is, right? He's not telling you because he's trying to be right. He's telling you because he's thinking you don't understand or how important these minutes are, like every detail, which is why I'm going to be talking about this um, sesquiquadrant. Okay, it's called a sesquiquadrant. And so this new moon happens in Virgo. This is about, are you going to do, normally with just the new moon, it would be about, are you going to do some of the things to make yourself better? You have been complaining and mulling and releasing and changing. But when it comes to your dreams, when it comes to your new stuff, you're not taking the shot. You're too afraid. You're too critical. You're too blah, blah, blah. Like, that's Virgo. He's like, why? So in Virgo's mind, he's like, I'm giving you this opportunity with this new moon. Are you just going to waste it again? Or are you going to do something about it this time? And the reason I know this is because this new moon is going to be in his house, right? And it's going to be opposing Saturn, right? And so you could tell Virgo, well, I couldn't make a decision. I thought I wanted one thing, but then I wanted another. And he's going to tell you with Saturn, what do you believe? What have you been working on? You've been working on this stuff. What have you been working on? Tell me. That's what Virgo's going to say in this new moon. You've been working on this stuff. What's your belief now? Like, you have to take responsibility for how you believe with the experiences that you've had lately in this last year, in this last 6 months, in this last 4 months, right? So what are you going to do about it, right? Let's start there. What do you believe? What do you believe? What are you willing to take responsibility for? Because some people can be wishy-washy. I want this, but I don't want to do all the work that it takes to attain this. And Virgo's like, we're not in space. We're not in another dimension. We are on Earth. And on Earth, you need to take some action to be able to get your dreams. And on Earth, you need to handle fear, face it, to be able to get your dreams. On Earth, in this dimension, in this life, with this meat suit, there are some actions and choices and things that you actually need to do to make those dreams come true in this new phase. Now, I'm here to help you, but I am not doing it for you. I'm here to help you. Does that make sense to everybody? And he's like, me and Saturn have been talking. And Saturn's like, I've helped them with their belief. They're understanding and they're unmasking and they're figuring it out, right? He's like, I'm still working with them. And Virgo's like, yeah, but they're not doing anything. Like, it's time to start taking an action. That's why I was saying earlier, just the fact that you can write it down makes one step towards your dream, towards what you're trying to manifest, right? This energy is further supported with this sesquiquadrant. It's called a sesquiquadrant. So this sesquiquadrant, right, there it is. Okay. So the sesquiquadrant, again, astrologers would call it a minor aspect. That's a misnomer in that you would think, oh, well, if it's a minor aspect, it doesn't really matter. No, it does matter. It's important, especially in Virgo. Every detail is important. So even the sesquiquadrant is important. Okay. Now, this sesquiquadrant is where Chiron, and here's the thing before I go on, I'm sorry. Saturn is retrograde. Saturn's like I'll bring it back around. We'll talk about their dreams. I'm bringing it back around, right? Retrograde. I'm going to bring that belief system. I'm going to bring it back around so they can like correct this, so they can have the responsibility, so that they can become the authority, so that they, and not in like, they can become the authority within themselves, understand their authority, right? So that they can become responsible. That's all the retrograde, right? What I believed before, I don't believe now, and this is why, right? And Virgo was like, show me, give me some sign that you want it, right? So even writing it down will give Virgo some sign that you want this. And then how is Virgo? Virgo loves you. Virgo supports you. Virgo will heal you, right? And this is part of the healing, the alignment, right? Is like you're stuck in this pattern that's unnecessary for you, and you're trying to figure out, and then you complain about why it's not that, right? So then it's further supported by this sesquiquadrant. So the sesquiquadrant is a minor aspect, but again, that's a misnomer. I think it's just as important, but it's to Chiron retrograde, right? And so there is an old habit, an old wound, and it could even be physical because Chiron is physical, right? Virgo is physical. So this tells me that it's probably physical. Like every time I do this, I get this bad migraine, or my nervous system dysregulates, or, I get really, really sick with the cold, or like something happens when you're moving towards this thing, and it's a retrograde with Chiron. So they're talking about this old habit that she has, this old habit that he has, right? Virgo's like, I want them to understand that that's that thing that makes them ill. It's not necessary anymore. And when they can see outside and begin to do this, because Virgo is not Neptune or Pisces, right? Virgo is grounded. Virgo is earth. So he's like, they need to bring their spirit and their body together, right? And so I'm going to work on the body part, and Pisces, Saturn, y'all work on the spiritual part, right? And so Virgo's like, they need to be at peace and aligned with the choices that they make about their dreams, so that they don't get this headache, or something bad happens and physically they get sick, right? And so he's trying to help you heal that, right? And that's why I'm saying there's something, and it's almost like, because it's retrograde Chiron, it's like, I don't want to do it because, it's like, I'll give you the perfect example. Remember when I was saying, like, I used to be scheduled 7-8 months out? I was working a lot. But here's the thing. When I look back, I've always worked a lot. Even when I was in my other career, I was still doing 16, 24 hours a day, right? Like, I was still up all night, and still, like, that's just who I am, right? And so with this, he's saying, there was nothing wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with you working 12, 7, 2 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, 40 hours, 100 hours. There's nothing wrong with any hour. That's what he's trying to say. It doesn't matter about the hour. It matters about your perception and how you take that in. So if you don't want to work that long, then come to some peace about not working that long, right? And I can help you with this. This is what this energy is about. And the reason I'm giving you that scenario or that example is because maybe it's that you're looking at this new thing that you want to do, and you're like, it's just not possible. I can't do it, or it's going to require too much, or it's like beyond me. Well, guess what? A lot of your dreams are beyond you. But that's the whole point, is that we're creators. So if you're a creator, create, right? If you know how to manifest in this world, which you do, then do it. And Virgo's just saying, we're in a dimension where we do it differently here. You have to ground it. You have to take some action. You have to involve Mother Earth. You have to involve relationships. That's what Virgo is saying. Does all that make sense to everybody? I know I went off. I'm channeling, but I'm really trying to channel Virgo and what he's trying and how he's trying to help you, help all of us with Saturn and with Chiron. And whatever this is has come around again to help you with your understanding of how to be at peace with not just your soul, but your body. Because your bodies, a lot of you are suffering. A lot of you. You have dis-ease. You have misalignment. You have all kinds of stuff, right? We haven't even talked. It's like Virgo's like, I don't even talk about the emotional stuff right now. That's like, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the steps to take. We're talking about every conversation. This is Virgo. Every conversation, the sun and the moon, every conversation in Virgo's house that we have had to have on this chart, on this day, matters. Does that make sense? It all matters. It helps you get to your dream. It helps you get to your manifestation. Yes, it's so nice to be in Piscean and Neptune energy and be like, oh, it's so wonderful and I love it and blah, blah, blah. And that's what Virgo's like, blah, blah, blah. Okay? You've had enough of that. It's time to get grounded. Does that make sense? And again, he doesn't do it in the best way. Sometimes it's like, ow. Does that all make sense to everyone? I love the way you talk about Virgo energy. I told you I love Virgos. Yes, they can be critical. Yes, they can be like, ouch. I love I love all the energies, okay? I just thank you for saying that. I'm really trying to encapsulate Virgo and express it to you, right? So so I kind of want to let you guys know that I'll go over each sign. As you know, Virgo is going to be doing this in um so if you're Virgo ascending, if you're Virgo sun, if you're Virgo moon, um or if you have a lot of planets in Virgo, again, when I say that you're going to be most affected, Virgo's not letting me say that. He's like, it doesn't mean that. It means that you're going to be more aware. Okay. It doesn't mean that the ones uh, that aren't aware aren't less affected. It just means that they're not so aware of it. Does that make sense? These houses really quickly, and it's very quickly. So Virgo in the first house, you're going to, it's about you, your identity, and how you're going to do this. It's close to Eugene or Portland or the ocean or Lake Bend. Yeah, it's around that area. So, this new moon is about you beginning some new phase in your life, Virgo. Again, this is coming back around for from the Chiron, where you may feel like it's just I can't do it. I don't have the resources. I'm not blah blah blah. Like you're talking yourself out of it, or it's like it's going to be too much for me and I can't physically do it. That'll make me ill or something like that, right? But Saturn is having that conversation saying, are you going to be responsible for your authority? Are you're just thinking that it's going to make you ill. You don't know that for certain. You want this dream. Are you taking responsibility for it? Do you understand that you have the authority? That's what Saturn and all these planets are saying together. That's what Virgo's sort of bringing out, right? So, and then in Libra, this will be in your 12th house, right? So, right? Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, your 12th house. So in Libra, you have this thing. I'm going to go ahead and say this. You have this right here. So we have the South Node. So this is something that you feel comfortable with. And these two are about to conjunct exact, right? So Venus and the South Node conjunct. So there is something about this thing, this dream, this new phase that maybe you're not aware of because it is your 12th house, but maybe you sense Yeah, it could be that you sense it. You're like, it's almost like where you're like, something's coming, something's coming, something's coming. That's like the 12th house having that new moon in there. Okay. Something's coming. I know something's coming. That's kind of what you'll be, it's kind of how you might be feeling, right? But just know that when it does, or if you want it to, you're being blessed here by this South Node because it's something that's going to come easier to you. You just have to take an action about it when you see it coming. When it comes, not when you see it, you won't see it coming. When it comes, whatever this new phase is, whatever it is that you've dreamed up, whatever it is, there's an action that you can take when it comes. Okay, you won't see it coming, but there's an action that you can take when it comes, and it's going to bless you. You're going to feel comfortable, and it's going to bless you. Okay, does that make sense? With Scorpio, this will be in your 11th house, right? And so this has to do with people. This has to do with your groups. There's a new phase coming about, and they're saying, are you taking responsibility? Saturn, are you taking responsibility? You've had groups before. This is a new way of doing groups. This is a new way of being part of something. And are you going to take responsibility this time? Are you going to do your part? Or are you going to be in the background? Like, what are you going to do? Right? And your body is going to be affected with this. This is retrograde, right? So, all the things that I have said, this is going to be happening in this area of your life. This has to do with groups. This has to do with the internet. This has to do with organizations that you might be a part of, right? And then we have it Sagittarius. So if you're Sagittarius, this is going to be in your 10th house. This has to do with your work. This has to do with, no, it doesn't have to do with your work. It has to do with how you're seen out in the world. So a lot of astrologers will say the career, right? But it's more than just the career. It's how you're seen. It's your reputation. It's like starting a new phase in your reputation. That's what I'm getting mostly, is like, I've learned a lot. I am better. I understand. I'm good. I'm better with boundaries. Sagittarius, right? Um, it's so funny. I'm hearing Sagittarius like, I won't get so pissed off next time. um, and then Capricorn. So Capricorn, this is in your 9th house. This is so Capricorn. Y'all have been through the ringer, right? We've discussed this. I've talked about this, but I feel like this new moon, being in your 9th house, it's like you really understand the new beginning that you want. Like you're finally clear about how to move forward and where to go. And when these things come about, you are being responsible. So you are answering Saturn, and you're understanding the work that it's going to take and the action that you need to do. And you understand how to balance that with your old wounds. You understand that. You're like, I haven't this wound I can't get rid of. This wound is gonna be with me. This like it's like the wound of my husband. This is like what I'm getting from spirit. It's like the wound of losing my husband. That is never going to go away. Can I work with it now? Yes. Is it going to get better as time moves on? Yes. As I help other people heal with them being widows, with them having a loved one lost, it doesn't just have to be a widow. Does that help my wound? That is Chiron. That's Chiron. Does that make sense? So it's like that. It's like I understand the responsibility I have to take. I understand the choices that I'm trying to make. I understand that going into the new phase, this is what it requires. That's Capricorn, right? Your belief system is changing, has changed. You understand better about yourself, not just about the world, but about yourself and how you're going to move in it. Okay. Aquarius, this is going to be in your 8th house. So for you guys, um, even deciding to come back and participate in humanity again, in society again, right? With your 8th house, this is the now. Okay, I've understood. I'm knowing these opportunities are coming back around. How am I going to take that in? Am I going to make the first step? I've already decided, but am I going to keep it in my head or am I going to ground it? Am I going to come out? Am I going to sign the contracts? Am I going to get those opportunities and make a choice and say, yes, I'll email you back and I'll answer. Yes, I'm going to go there and do that. Yes, I will Get the loan for blah blah blah. Yes, like any type of contract, and it could be in your relationships too. Am I going to engage again? Am I going to call them back now? Am I going to like answer the emails? Am I going to like answer the texts? Right? That's you in the eighth house, Aquarius. And again, what I said in the beginning about how these planets are talking applies to that eighth house for you. Okay. Then we're going to move to Pisces, which is your seventh house. This is the opposing. This is where Saturn's at. This is where Saturn's been messing with you the whole time. And he's not finished. Okay. So, Pisces, hopefully you're getting clearer about how things work, right? Hopefully you're learning some of the boundaries that you need to understand, right? With it being in your seventh house, it is going to be a reality check with your relationships. Aquarius, it's going to be a reality check with your contracts. Okay. I'm going to say that to all of you. Capricorn, you already have the reality check. Okay. I won't say it. Sagittarius, I think you're better about the reality check, but there is going to be a reality check. Okay. Scorpio, reality check. Okay. Uh, Libra, reality check. Virgo, it's time to check in with yourself. Okay. Does that make sense? So, Pisces, reality check. This is going to be a reality check for you. This is like the second phase. You're going to get a little reprieve if you answer, but it is going to be a reality check for you. Okay. You are not finished with your transformation, is what I'm trying to tell you, Pisces. There's a part of your transformation that's about to be finished in 2025. Okay. But until then, you got some stuff to go through. And I'm sorry. Pisces, you got some reality checks coming. All right. Um, and then Aries. So Aries, this is going to be in your sixth house. So you really need to be careful because Aries, you can already be a little clumsy sometimes. Okay. I'm just going to say that. And this is what I'm getting. Like, be very careful and take care of yourself. If you need to rest, rest. If you need to take naps, take a nap. You need to like start taking better care of yourself with this. So thank you, heart spam. Thank you. Thank you, David. So Aries, this is really important because Chiron is in your house right now, retrograde, right? And then um this is going to, so your house, you, your identity, and you, your physicalness, and it's in your sixth house where it's health and well-being. So Aries, please pay attention to your body. Okay? Pay attention. Like, you really need to pay attention. Okay? And this is a new phase that's coming in for you, but I kind of feel like, I don't know why, there's something that's going to come back around, Aries, where you're like, okay, I got to get through this. I need to understand this better. That makes sense? Um, and then Taurus, this is your fifth house, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Taurus, this conversation that's been happening, this and this new moon and this new phase, um, yeah, I'm gonna say this to Aries too before I go into Taurus. It's a reality check, Aries. You're gonna have a reality check. I don't know why Virgo is making me say it to every sign, but I'm saying it to every sign. Reality check, except for Capricorn, because they've just gone through a 16 year. There's a very little few Capricorns that are being stubborn, so you're about to have a reality check, okay? But Taurus, this being in your fifth house, this reality check is about your creativity, like how you create. Did you really want this? I mean, you say that you want this and you have the like you have the mentality for it and you have the work ethic for it, but for some reason you will not get it out of your head and you will not put it into reality. So, does that make sense, Taurus? And there's going to be a reality check about the steps that you can take to make this happen, or it's just going to stay in your head. It's not going to go anywhere. That makes sense, Taurus? And then Gemini, this is in your fourth house. This has to do, yeah, with your reality check, with your family, with your I'm going to say with yourself, because the fourth house is your most, almost, it's not the most private. Yeah, no, it's the most private. Sorry. The fourth house is the most private. The fourth house is the things, Gemini, that you don't say to anybody because they would think you're crazy, right? And so there's some sort of reality check. There's a dream. There's something in there that you have not connected to in a while, and it's time to get reconnected to that. And there's going to be a reality check with that. Okay, that's what I'll say for Gemini. Yeah, yeah. Whether that's mirrored through somebody else or whether you just see it, some things I just feel like there's this inner deeper part, Gemini, that you have not connected. Yeah. I just I hope I'm explaining that well because I'm sensing like this thing that you forgot about or this thing that you've dreamed up but you don't even realize that you subconsciously you keep thinking about it, right? And that's going to come about. And then Cancer, this is going to be in your third house, right? So there is going to be, so be careful, Cancer, with the communication. But there is going to be some truth shown to you about these dreams that you feel, this way of life that you want, and how maybe you could put some more work in, or maybe make a choice about, or maybe even write down to let Virgo know, and the new moon know, and Saturn know, and Chiron know that you really want this, because there's a lot of this that you want, and it's like, okay, I can give you all of it, but please just choose one first and let's bring that down, right? That's what I'm getting. Like, process that, right? Third house, process that. This has to do with the people around you. This could have to do with siblings. This could have to do with the neighbors. There's something, right? This could have to do with how you work your everyday life, right? So that's for you, Cancer. And then Leo, this is your second house. Leo, uh, this is a big conversation for you because this has to do, for some of you that have been wounded with understanding your worthiness of the relationships that you have and the people that you have around you. This also has to do with, I've always known that I'm worth it, yet my possessions were being taken. What is going on? Right? And Virgo wants to help you step back into that confidence that you've always had and say, it doesn't matter what you lost. Let's get going. Let's start doing. You already know how to work this, Leo. You already know how to do this. You've just forgotten because you were wounded and you stayed in that. Right? Hey, Rodney, how are you? Thanks for coming in. It's really late. What are you doing? You and David. Um, Rodney, this is David. David, this is Rodney. Rodney, David used to be my assistant. He's like a really good friend, really like past friendship. Uh, Not romantic though. I always have to say that. It's like brother, sister, we fight. But anyway, uh, David, Rodney comes from TikTok and he's coming to support me. So thank you, Rodney. So anyway, Leo, that's your second house. Okay. So it's time to step back into your authority. It's time to step back into who you really are and have maybe forgotten because you got a little wounded because some things were taken away because some people gave you some reality checks, but it's time, right? And so, anyway, so that's the new moon. You'll have to go back and watch those of you that just joined. I was really trying to get in the Virgo energy and help you guys understand Virgo and how what he's not being mean. He's just trying to help you do better, like I told you guys, right? And so, but he is talking to Saturn and he is talking to Chiron. So, and there's a retrograde, so these things are going to come back around. This is something that's come back around for you. And it's like your shot. You know, what are you going to do about it this time? And Virgo's going to tell you, like, what are you going to do about it? You dream about this all the time. It's talk, 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 but I don't see anything. Like, I'm here to help you. How are we going to do this? Right? So I thank you very much for showing up. Thank you for all of the hearts. David, thank you for all of the hearts. I know that David will just sit there and spam, spam, spam. So thank you. I appreciate it. Um, and I will see you on the next one on Saturday. Oh, I may not. I was gonna say Virgo's like, don't even try it. You're not gonna do it. Good night, everyone. I love you, love you, love you. I will see you later. Bye.